My name is Ash, and I'm the founder of CrimeOwl. And it recently was brought to my attention that somebody confessed to my mom's murder on Reddit, on the Confessions subreddit. It's anonymous, so we don't know who did it. A lady named Ariana reached out to me via email. I'll link the post in the comments below. But I wanted to make this video because I need your help. And I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not, but I need the community's help to track this guy down. I don't know if it's a hoax. I don't know if it's real, but I'll tell you a few reasons why I think it's real and not a hoax. If you read the post, it is kind of vague and it doesn't provide a lot of excessive details. It seems like if it was a hoax, they would kind of go out of their way to point to or call out different things. And in this case, the guy doesn't, and he hasn't, guy or girl, I think it's a guy, and he hasn't posted in a few days. The thread is still up. The other thing I wanted to point out is a lot of these cold cases, there's certain things with cold cases, or murders for that matter, and I learned this from Joe Kennedy, who's a legendary cold case detective. He travels around and teaches police stations and officers how to solve cold cases, and he's got a great book you can read. And he said some of the main things about cold cases or unsolved murders are a lot of these murders aren't planned out. They are not a serial killer going in there with the idea to murder someone. It's usually they were planning something else and the situation went awry, whether it's a break-in or a robbery or a rape or something, and things just escalate and then they kill the person. Sorry, this is it's hard for me to talk about, but in this case, in the Reddit thread, the guy said he was high on some drugs and he thought the drugs were laced and he blacked out. So that's a factor number one that makes me think it's real. He didn't say I went and tried to go find her and kill her or whatever. He was just in a drug-induced haze. The other thing is that a lot of times the murderer lives with an excessive amount of guilt. And oftentimes they confess to somebody about the murder. Eventually they crack, and a lot of these cold cases can be solved when you keep tabs on the potential suspects and their life kind of erodes, or they move towns, they move to an adjacent town, they start using drugs and alcohol, and their life just kind of unravels from guilt. And in this thread, you don't really see them moving towns or their lives changing, but the guy is clearly guilty if it's real. I mean, he's communicating a lot of guilt and it's starting to weigh on him. And it's been 20 years. So apparently he's sober now, so there's another life change. It sounds like he's been doing drugs up until recently, and he kind of left the thread and he said, do with this information what you will. He's thinking about doing a confession. The other thing he kind of mentions, which is very interesting, is he doesn't call me out by name, but he mentions that her son is doing everything possible to find her, including using AI. So he doesn't use CrimeOwl in the comments. He doesn't even mention her by name, really, until you look into the comments, and then he mentions her name. The other thing is he mentions is he was on a service road on I-70, and you can see the motel, the American motel where my mom disappeared. So There's another thing. He doesn't really say, I went to the American Motel or I was around the American Motel. He said he was stumbling around. That one's kind of peculiar. I don't remember the setup of the American Motel right now. So I can't tell you if that one makes a lot of sense. And he basically said my mom was in the doorway and I don't know, something happened. So you can read the thread. So all those things point to something that makes sense. And the confession is interesting because Joe Kennedy mentioned they usually confess to someone, and we live in a more digital age than ever before. There's multiple ways you can confess to something without confessing to a person. And it's entirely possible that he felt he just needed to get it off his chest in the confessions forum. Who knows if he used a VPN, and I guess we'll see. So at this point in time, I'm waiting. The detectives know about this situation. I'm hopping on a call with them tomorrow. And we're going to go from there. They're going to investigate the lead. I have no idea what they can or cannot do, but I'm asking for the citizen detective community, citizen sleuths, whatever you want to call yourself. If you have any more leads, email me or leave them in the comments below. This has been a very emotional week for me. Last 2 weeks, actually. And I've been dealing with some family stuff, and then this one got dropped on my lap, and it just, sometimes when it rains, it pours, So I don't know what finding this guy will do. I do know that building CrimeOwl has helped me grieve my mom's murder. I still think it's a murder. And has enabled me and given me the power to not feel as big of an emotional charge as I used to as I walk through this path. However, a murder confession is a little bit different, and we'll see if it comes to an end or I get some sort of final closure, or my family does. It remains to be seen. So that's what I'm looking for. If you can help me, comment or email me, ash@crimeowl.ai, and let's see if we can do something here, and as a community or something, to solve this case. Thank you.